Good evening, guys. Sorry, I'll try my best to make the class short as much as I can. So here's what I'm going to be doing tonight. We'll be teaching you about relative layout and constraint layout. And linear layout. So the difference between two is that the relative layout, everything is related to each other. You give them IDs. Everything on the screen depends on something. There's nothing independent on the screen. And then apart from that, let's go to linear. On linear, everything is independent, so you don't have to sort it. It's always sorted automatically. Just have to mention whether its orientation is horizontal or vertical. So as of yet, let me start with linear layout. I'll show you what linear layout is. You just say linear, and then linear layout will pop. Here's linear layout. To ask you the width and the height, I'll say the width, it should match the parent, and then the height, I'll say it should just wrap whatever that I want to put within it. And then the next thing will be the orientation. So for the orientation, I can choose if it should be vertical, if it should be vertical like this, or it should be horizontal. For now, I'll go with vertical. There we go. And then um, as of here, the only thing that is left is for me to open another tag and close it on the other side so that I can put in the content within. So as for the content, I'll just put some buttons, empty buttons, and then I'll just say rep content. So it should, the height, it should rep content, the width, it should rep content. And then I'll also margin it a little so that it can be spaced. I'll say the margin should be 5 dp, 5 dp, and then that's it. I'll copy the same button, the very same button. I'll close the tag and then copy the very same button and paste it again and again so that you can notice the difference. Just paste it and then another button. So the reason this is going in a vertical manner is because I've already chose the orientation here to be vertical. So I can change the orientation to horizontal so that you can see the difference. You see, it already changed to horizontal. By default, linear layout is horizontal. So you can choose whether you how you want it to be. And then I can also choose the gravity. The gravity is how you want it to be oriented. Like should it be in the left? Should it be on the right? Should it be in the center? So here are the options of the gravity. You can choose, you can take them all. There is left, which is the same as the end, or yeah, and start, which is the same as the right, and the top, left, and center. So I'll just choose center for now. See, it's centered horizontally. I think this is easy if you ask me. And then I can add a couple of text within these buttons. Let me add the text. I'll just take here, just add, and then the other one I'll just add text called um, clean. I don't know what to write, but then I'll just write clean. And then the other one, let me just write delete. Already just delete. Delete. So by default, all the letters in the button are caps locked. They are all caps locked. But then you can also change it and make them lowercase. So this is how you do it. You change all, you search all, and then it will say all cap, and then text all caps. And then you can say true or false. I'll say false, and then that's it. So the next thing I'll be doing a linear layout so that you can notice the difference. I don't think this is hard if you ask me. And then let me put a linear layout below, I mean relative another layout below the linear layout. So I'll name this relative layout. It's a relative layout. Let's say relative layout, and then I'll say the height and the width is just rep content. So like I said, this rep content means it should just contain only what is um, within it. It should save as much space as it can. And then as for the match parent, it means it should fill, if it's match parent on the width, it should fill the entire width of the parent. If it's match parent on the height, it should fill the entire height of the parent. If it's match parent on all, then the entire screen will be covered by the layout or whatsoever that you'll be using. So here, I have my relative layout. You don't need to choose the orientation here. So I'll just say a button again. Um, I press B, and then a button will pop, and then I say button, and then I say rep content, and then there's a button. It is within my layout, but then it's on the top because I didn't tell my layout where it should be. So I'll say text, um, bottom. Okay, on the bottom, and note something here. All these layouts, these two layouts, they are within the relative layout. If you check, they are within the relative layouts. The relative layout and the linear layouts, these two layouts, they are within the relative layout. The main layout, which is a relative one. So I'm going to use the functions of the relative layout to position this layout. So I'm just gonna say bottom, and then it will ask me, or just ask parent, and then it will ask me if I should center it to the parent or align to parent bottom, and then I'll just say parent bottom, and then true. It's a boolean function. There you go, and then you'll see our button. There it is, and then let me rename it to center. Let me set it to center, and center center in parent, and then I'll say true. See, it's centered now. I hope you can see the difference between relative and linear layout. And then we're gonna take this button and copy and paste it again. Get the same button, same button. As of yet, they are stacked on each other because um, relative layout is a little bit like a linear layout. So unless if you give it a function and where it should be, it will be there. If you can see, by default it's already constrained here. But then on the linear layout, there are no needs for constraints. So I'll just give this button an ID of ID button one. And the second one, I'm gonna name it as ID button two. Then the third one, I'm gonna name it as button three. ID button three. Then this is button three. This is button and this is button four. The other one is button. So I'll make the the lesson as much short as I can. So let me say button 2 should be below button 1. So button 2, let me say below ID button. There you go. It's below button 1. The button 2 is below button 1. The reason you're seeing bit button 3 on it's because it's button 3 is still stacked over button 1, so you won't be able to see it clearly. So I'm gonna say button 3 on the right of button 3 right of. I'm just gonna say right. So this is simple. You see, just name right, and then this layout to right of button one. And I'll just choose button one. I don't think this is hard. And then I'll margin it. Margining means the spaces between. So for instance, how can I put this? For instance, maybe you are parking a car. As of yet assistance here, these cars are parked to each other. They are squeezed to each other, and they may be crashing or something like that. If we say button one is a car and button two is a car, but then if I imagine it to 10 dp, it means the car is now um, 10 dp apart from the other one. So I don't think this is hard for you guys. I don't think it could be hard. See, then that's how we do it. So that's the difference between linear layout and relative layout. And the next thing I'm gonna show you using the hint and the other stuff. So it won't allow you to use the same function twice on the same object. So you see, yeah, yeah, my buttons. So this is the difference between relative layout and linear layout. If you check, I'm pretty sure you can see the relative layout, you have more freedom, and the linear layout, you can just put it only horizontal and vertical. But here you can say it should be centered, it should be where, it should be where. But then you can also do the same thing on linear layout, but then it will be so much of a work. So I want you guys to also notice something here on this layout that I'm using. If I click here, the entire layout will pop. And then if you check here, the width is rep content. So it was only covered where I wanted it to cover. It's only covered only the content within it. And the reason there are some gaps here on the sides is because I margined the buttons to 10. So if I change this from rep content to match parent, these things are going to, this layout is going to cover the entire parent in width. See, it's match parent now. So it has covered the entire parent in width. So I'm just gonna add something, something, Yana. Add a text view. So you add a text view on Android Studio. I mean, on when you're coding, so you just type text view and then it will pop. And then I'll say width, rep content, and the height, rep content, so it can save as much space as it can. And then I'll also name my text to relative layout, relative layout, relative layout. So it's popping to the corner of the layout that I'm using, the same thing that happened when we're using constraint layout. So I'll have to margin it if I and position it if I want it to be constraint well. So I'll just say margin 5. Let me make it 10 dp as well, and then it sits out of the parent, and then I'll say um above button 1, layout above button 1. So this should be popping. It's popping, but then it's outside of the layout. Let me close it and see. And then let me change it from above button 1 to parent top. Um, Parent top, layout to parent top, align to parent top. So I'm just gonna say true, it's on the top of the parent, and then I'm gonna say button 1 should be below this text view. I'm gonna name this text view, I'm gonna give it an identity, an identity of text view. I'll just say TV, how I named it. and then I'm gonna say button. If I say this should be below button text view, it's going to move everything below text view. Everything that, by everything I mean button 1, button 2, and button 3, because they are constrained to it, except for button 3, it's on the right, but then it's not below anything. So I'm just gonna say below, layout below, id, which is TV. id is TV, and it's very case sensitive. So now I hope you are able to notice the difference. I don't think this is hard, guys. I don't think this is hard. And then yeah, I'm gonna leave it here for today, and then you guys are going to view the video at your own times when you're comfortable, and then you should try, or you should also try running this and see how it will look on the phone. So in case you want to know how to add a text view and edit text, this is how you edit. um I'm gonna say edit text right below here. So that's how you put you call for everything. So just say edit, and then get my edit text, and then I can say rep content, and then as for its text, I mean type, you, if you want it to be a password type, if you want it, an email or a number, you type. So it's gonna ask you the type of input you want to put. So it's input type, and then this date, none, number, you can choose, but for here, let me just choose, and then let me choose number. And please don't name it text here, rather say hint, and then you can hint the person who is going to use the app, like just say hint for, yeah, for now, so that you can understand every concept. I'll just type in hint. There you go, hint. And then I'm going to just put it below button 1, button 2, below below id button 2. Yes, button 2. You see, that's my edit text. It's written hint right below button 2. But then I can also say the width, it should be like okay, let me make my width to 300. See, 100 pp now, and then I can center it horizontally. Center horizontally. It's centered. You are true, and set it to true. True, yes, true. Now it's centered, you can see. And then one last thing, you can also center the content within, like that hint. You can say gravity, and then you center the content center, and then my hint goes to the center. So I hope that makes sense. um I'll see you on the next class, maybe a physical one. Enjoy yourself, guys.